So in a recent live broadcast, I showed how artificial intelligence in Photoshop can help big time when it comes to making the best possible selections and cutouts. Now, in the days that have passed since that broadcast, I couldn't resist having a play, and I've actually found out it's even better than I thought. Okay, so first of all, let me show you what I did in the live stream, and then we'll move on to some more complex and practical uses. So with this portrait of my friend 𝐓𝐡𝐞, this part here where the dark hair of his beard is against the dark background was pretty much impossible to make a selection of using the traditional selection tools in Photoshop. Initially, I thought about using other techniques I've done videos on about before, making use of Photoshop brushes, or even using somebody else's hair from in another picture. But in Photoshop Beta, we now have Generative Fill AI, and I'm constantly thinking of new possibilities for using it that can speed up my workflow and help with difficult, challenging tasks. So check this out. I've made a selection of dye but didn't include trying to select the dark hairs of his beard on either side. Instead, I grab the lasso tool and make a loose selection around this area here, which is where the beard would have extended out to. I make sure to include a little bit of the original beard so as to give the AI something to refer to. Once I've made the selection, I then click on Generative Fill. I don't type any text prompts in at all, and instead I just click on Generate and then give it a few seconds. And look at that, incredible. In fact, all of the first 4 variations would work great. So now let's do the same on the other side. I grab the lasso tool, I make a selection around the area where the beard would have been, making sure to include some of the original beard. I click on Generative Fill, I don't type in any text prompts, and then I click on Generate. And again, we give it a few seconds. And it's done. Again, 4 really good, believable variations that really look like a great selection and cutout was made. Brilliant. So after doing that, it got me thinking, and I went back to this photograph, where I had to do a cutout, and even though it's dark hair on a grey background, getting it to look good wasn't straightforward and wasn't something the traditional selection tools in Photoshop could do on their own. In the video I did for this, I showed how I made the hair selection and cutout. I then showed how I used hair from another picture and created a brush, how to change its colour and blend it in so that it looked completely realistic. Now that worked really well, but having done the Generative Fill AI on the picture of my friend Di, I just had to try it out on this one too. So here's the selection I've made so far without including the loose flyaway hair on either side. Instead, just as in the picture of Di, I'm going to make a selection using the lasso tool over this area on the side here. Again, as before, making sure to include in the selection some of the original hair. Then I click on Generative Fill. I don't type any text prompts. I simply click on Generate. And again, look at that. All of the first 4 variations are pretty damn good, but I think I'll go with this one. Let's now do the other side. Make the selection, include some of the original, click on Generative Fill, and then Generate. Wow, just brilliant. This one not so good, but I'll go with this one. That just looks incredible and with no text prompts used at all. Now, although this works really well and will no doubt get even better as Generative Fill AI comes out of beta, there is something to bear in mind. And that is that when the AI creates the hair, it doesn't just create the hair, it also creates the background around it. So you have to be aware of when in your retouching to do this. So for example, if I was doing some compositing where I was going to add a background behind the subject, I would first of all make the selection, then put the background behind, and then use the AI, because then it'll create everything that it needs to, like the hair or the fur, and it'll just blend perfectly. Okay, the last example I want to show you is this one. Now, selecting and cutting out the deer again was challenging for the traditional selection tools and filters in Photoshop. So I ended up using a combination of Select Subject, then the pen tool, Quick Mask, and a few others. But to fake the look of a good selection on the fur, I used a brush in Photoshop. I painted with a simple round black brush on the layer mask to remove part of the deer. Then I used the grass brush in Photoshop. I changed some of the brush settings and then with a white foreground colour painted back the deer. This faked the look of fur and worked really well. But again, what about Generative Fill AI? How would that do? So at this stage I've cut the deer out. We have a layer mask and I've added the background behind. So now let's get the lasso tool and just make a selection of this area here first. I'll just do a small area and again include some of the original fur. I'll click on Generative Fill. I won't type any text prompts in at all and I'll simply click on Generate. We give it a few seconds. And now look. So there you go, something I discovered purely by experimenting and something I think is really exciting that I just had to share with you. Before I go though, I just wanted to let you know that the Photoshop World Online 2023 conference is coming up very soon, running from September the 5th through September the 7th. 25 instructors from all over the world presenting classes online on Photoshop, Lightroom and photography for 3 days. I've added a link in the description for the early bird pricing. Right, that's all for this video. So as always, if you've got something from it, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet, click on that subscribe button. It's a free way that you can show support for this channel and the content that I'm putting out. But for now, that's me. I'm done. I'll catch you in the next one.